And back home, the Rwandan High Commissioner to Nigeria says colonial manipulation and bad governance resulted in the 1994 genocide that killed over 1 million Tutsis. He also spoke on the road to recovery and development and how Nigeria promises a support to Rwanda on this journey to recovery. Moya Thomas reports. Well, before we take that report, let's bring in our foreign affairs correspondent, Moya Thomas. She's standing by live from Abuja. Moya, it's good to have you join us on TVC News at 10. Of course, you were at this event. Talk to us about what the mood was like at this event.
It was indeed a very solemn mood at the event in Abuja, as they described it as a reflection of 1994. And it did reflected the mood of how not just the citizens of, not just the people of Rwanda, but even friends and allies of Rwanda, how they feel about the genocide.
Pretty interesting how, this memorial is not just being held in Kigali in Rwanda, it's also being held here in Nigeria. How do you think the Rwanda genocide has an impact on African nation?
The impact is actually a very strong one, considering that let's start by what the president said earlier today, that they felt left alone at the time the genocide happened because the world didn't recognize it as a genocide. And that was one of the reasons they felt left alone. And it just points to the fact that if they were not strong enough to come up and have the Rwandan front that actually led, at the army part of it that actually led and fought against the militia that they won after 100 days. One can only just wonder how bad it would have been today. So the lesson for Africa is actually remaining united, remaining strong, and not getting over-dependent on other international countries, because going by what the president said, it could happen to any other country, and being left alone is not a good place to be.
Let me hold you on some thoughts while we play your report. In your report, you had said that the High Commissioner to Nigeria says that colonial manipulation and bad governance resulted in the 1994 genocide. But let's take your report just to hear exactly what he said.
It has been 30 years since the horrific ethnic cleansing that killed more than 1 million people in Rwanda. The world can never forget. This is the reason the memorial of this day is held in not only Kigali, but at the country's embassies and high commissions worldwide. The solemn commemoration in Abuja started with a 1-minute silence and prayers for the victims, followed by the lighting of candle. Gory tales from survivors played on the giant screen provided.
So even the management, you never know where to begin.
These tales does not detail the unimaginable event that started on the 7th of April, 1994. For the 100 days that the genocide went on, over 1 million people died. No one was spared in the killing. Men, women, children, living only in its trails, dead bodies and grave sites. How then does a country recover from such? Rwanda says its justice system helped in its reconciliation bid. Local traditional court system allowed locals to decide how justice is to be served. This has been more than a soothing balm.
At the heart of our progress lies unwavering unity, exemplified by our inclusive constitution and commitment to reconciliation. Also, it lies on relentless accountability with effective anti-corruption measures and a spirit of ambition that motivates us to think big.
Probably as a United Nations peacekeeper who could have intervened. And as a human being, watching the annihilation of God's creation. In both cases, could I have acted otherwise? Because I was under orders and instructions. The answer remains elusive.
Global responsibility. Sometimes people don't realize that what they want to create, they won't be able to manage it. And that is where global responsibility comes in. It is not enough for us to stand by and watch. Let us, if you see something that is going wrong somewhere, whether globally or in your neighborhood, say something. Say something. There must be somebody who could do something about that thing.
We will never forget the victim of this genocide, nor will we ever forget the bravery and the resilience of those who survive, whose courage and willingness to forgive remain a burst of light and hope amidst this dark chapter of humanity history.
For the diplomatic community in Nigeria, there is no better way to stand with Rwanda other than this. Preserving these memories and telling the stories is now for the lesson the world needs to learn, especially on the importance of shunning hate, and also the responsibility we bear as communities, as global leaders, and even as individuals. Moya Thomas, TVC News, Abuja.